Coming from a galaxy near you, this is Brothers in Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
Welcome, y'all. I see things are going well at the airports.
Wow.
And she was speaking Spanish too, so I'm not sure if that was America or somewhere else, but I see things are going well at the airports. I'm glad I'm where I'm at. I'm also glad I'm trying this today, Doug, which is
Ooh, your new Glarus.
Yeah, and New Glarus doesn't make an IPA. This is, I think, one of the first ones they've ever made.
Really?
He just prefers not to make them. He makes a killer double IPA though. Stream. Y'all tell me in the comments. I forget what it's called. Stream something. Fly to friendly skies, dog. You have any friendly skies in your plans?
I have not seen any, like, even when we flew over to Iceland, like, I didn't see any of that nonsense. I think maybe because we were flying international, but
No. I think you mistake my question. Any plans to join the friendly skies anytime soon?
No, not for a while. We are getting ready to go to Maine next week, but that's not flying. So thankfully. So how is your IPA?
The IPA is piney, and it's probably not your style. Dare I say it's a little underwhelming. It's all right. It's not. I mean, it's all right. I don't know. It's all right. It's fine. It's not blowing me away. Clearly, you can tell.
Yeah.
It's not horrible. It's cool, and that's something else.
Wow. That seems not to make sense, but okay.
No, but what makes sense is what you're drinking.
Yeah. So I just picked this up. It's a collaboration between two local breweries called Thunder Buddies. This is a collaboration between Beer Tree Brewery and the North Brewery. So this is a fruited sour. You're gonna love this, Greg. Blackberry, apricot, cinnamon, and vanilla fruited sour.
Let's go. I would try it for sure, but Air Canada all the way. As long as it's not smoky, JHG.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any smoke this week.
Yeah.
No smoke this week.
Nope.
Good.
Look at that color.
Oh.
Apologies.
That wasn't a beer you had in pregame, but whatever.
No. Pregame I had an NA, so
yeah, I thought that's what you're leading off, but you threw a curve there. But let's see that again because that looks pretty good. All right.
So, as you can imagine, with all those flavors, there's a lot going on there. The blueberry and the apricot are like the prominent things. I get a little vanilla in the end and not much cinnamon, which, like kind of surprised that there's not as much cinnamon. Must have been pretty light addition to that, but it's very good. You know what it is? It is not sour. It is more on the tart and sweet end. So,
and that's your end.
That's my wheelhouse for sours.
Right. Is this a good sipper, or is this one we can have the whole thing?
Oh, you could drink the whole thing. It's not like one of those milkshake smoothies.
Or one of those sours that it's going to feel weird in your stomach if you drink the whole thing. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm.
No, but it's just a really good fruited sour. It'd be really good when it's hot out, which it is here. So,
all right. All right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good times. That's a perfect summer beer. This is a really interesting summer beer. And then I have a classic coming up later, so I'm excited to do that. I'm excited for our guest because, first of all, he has the best name in the world.
Yes,
So
he does.
that is not, I mean, we're not going to have that debate here tonight, Doug. But also, he's very fascinating as far as being creative. And he's also made some really interesting career choices when he was young.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because all of y'all are going to be able to see it. I'm pretty sure we can verify that. I know that y'all could read about it, so we're going to get to that. But I'm going to just, I'm going to hand it over to Doug for the formality here,
Yeah.
and I need to go find some things here. But yeah.
All right. So our guest tonight, and I was very happy we were able to get him. He's an extraordinarily busy guy. So a little less so now, but that's because of the writer's strike. Because he's
we're gonna get into that.
Yeah. So we're going to talk to our guest is a writer. He's an executive producing a show on Netflix. He's done food competitions. He's a Marine, and that's
He
what
cooks.
he cooks. Like
Yeah.
just a man of many talents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's bring on our friend Greg Copewhite.
You have the button, buddy.
Oh, I do. That is correct.
Yeah.
Push the button. There he is.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome, Greg.
Thanks, guys. And I really appreciate your name being Greg in more ways than one. And I see that your family also couldn't afford the second G.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Same.
No, I mean, nothing. Yeah.
I wish we could play back your opinions on that IPA because it sounded, if you could use those same words for describing what you thought about a date.
Well, neither of us have dated in like forever, so
right. But I feel
okay.
that it's okay. A little underwhelming. You know, I was kind of expecting more.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not
well,
wrong.
Thanks for joining us, Greg. Since Doug is the one who reached out to you to join us this Friday, I'm gonna always give Doug. I usually give Doug the floor. So, Doug, you can have this. Of course, you know Doug to ask the pertinent question that we kind of care about a lot here.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
I'm not going to let you down. It is water, but it is really good water.
Okay.
It's
filtered. Filtered.
So it's filtered. Not only it's double filtered, and it's crisp. It's clean. It's refreshing. It's everything you want in a water and a relationship.
Man, look at all these, wise droplets of knowledge we're getting from Greg right off the top. Oh man.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh shoot.
All right. You want me to go first? I'll ask a question first. All right. So Greg, I want to talk first. I mean, we got a lot we can discuss, but let's talk first about your book and your TV show. It's Pink Marine. Can you explain a little bit to us about what the book is about and how the show adaptation is with that?
Yeah, it is I've been a television writer for a long time and a screenwriter. Mm-hmm. Oh, thanks. I was going to hold one up like
hey, there we go.
And I'd always written scripts, but I'd never written anything else. I don't have an education, so I don't have an MFA in English literature to write a book, but I just thought, hey, let's write a book. How hard can it be? I was a Marine. That never should have happened. So I thought about the time we were in, and I was reading stories about all these kids, these teenagers that were choosing to kill themselves when they were bullied over whatever, their sexuality or their weight or their race. And instead of it was too easy and they weren't hanging on. And I just wanted to write something that could show people that there are other options and that sometimes we do have to fight through stuff to get where we should be and maybe not where we are. I wrote the book concurrently with writing a blog that got really popular. And I think Doug mentioned in the intro that I'd cook some. So let me just get that out of the way. I wrote the book and I did nothing else. I took no other jobs, but I was running this little short story comedy blog about food and my cooking. And Food Network picked that up, and Mark Burnett's company reached out to have me compete on a show, and it was great. And Food Network had me shoot a pilot for them, and then I hosted some stuff for them. I still have relationships there, but that's all the jobs I took, because I really had to focus on the book, and all that stuff was great, and I loved every minute of it. We can talk about that. The book is a memoir about the time that I enlisted in the Marine Corps accidentally. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what the Marines were. I knew nothing. I was raised by a single mom who, would rather that I helped her pick out her clothes than she played Army with me. So that's kind of how it balanced out. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote the book, and I got lucky in that it was optioned for a TV show early on, and not sold, just a producer optioned the rights. And so we developed it and worked on it for years. And then during the pandemic, we got lucky and sold it to Netflix for a series. And we started shooting it in April, the day before the writer's strike. I shaved my head in solidarity with the cast, because that's where we were in the show. And then the press announcements that the show was a go came out on May 2nd. It was crazy. The joy in my soul for having this broadcast all around the world, and Variety and Hollywood Reporter with the great Norman Lear executive producing, who also wrote the foreword to the book, was probably the best 3 hours I've had in my life, because then that same day, the news about the writer's strike hit. And as a writer on the show and a producer, I had to leave my own show that day, pack it in. We were shooting in New Orleans. I packed my house up and moved back to LA, and I've been on the picket lines ever since.
Yeah. So that talks a bit about the writer's strike. Like, I know it's about
Rosenberg, your wish will come true.
The panini. All right, there we go. Greg, that's our friend Zach. His dad was an actor, by the way. So
nice.
Yeah, so we'll have him comment, because I'm sure he will. So regarding the writer's strike, which this is something that out here in the East Coast we hear about, but because it's not as much of an industry out here as it is out in the West Coast in California, like, can you explain what they're like? I know it's about better wages, but I'm sure there's other things involved in this, correct?
Yeah, maybe for historical perspective, it would help if you knew that our last agreement was in 2007. So we've been operating under that agreement, and it just expired. So 2007, you still had to get a DVD from Netflix in the mail. There was no streaming. There was no Amazon. There was no Hulu. There was HBO, but it was not a streaming service yet. It was just cable. That was a big change. Streaming changed everything. Both of my movies for Netflix, obviously streaming. I did write for HBO early on, but back when it was a network and not when it was a streamer. So we had no safeguards in place. The three main points to me, and I'm not the strike expert, are the use of AI. AI is creeping in on everybody's business. Everybody here can probably speak to something about AI that's taking up maybe a job in your own company, or you're using it for your benefit. Great,
Right.
but what we have to strike against is them replacing writers with AI. The scripts may be okay. Do you want to watch okay programming? Your time is precious. You know how precious time is now. We both learned the hard way.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not going to watch mediocre programming. I want to watch good programming. So the thought of having a computer write a script and then have one writer come in and humanize it when normal, our show had 8 writers. So that's not unusual. Roseanne one year when her heyday had 35 writers.
Wow.
She gave them football jerseys and referred to them only by numbers. But the fact is that we've got to take care of AI. We have to take care of the pension plan. Yeah, I need younger writers to be hired so they can pay out my pension. We also have to talk about mini rooms. There are rooms that are 4 weeks and 8 weeks. That's ridiculous, because you then have to start hustling again for another job. A career that used to sustain us for the year now does not, and we can't do anything. I am not complaining in any way about where I am or the good fortune that I've had in this business, but I will tell you that that I don't make a penny off the movies that run on Netflix. There was no agreement in place. I did, but I made residuals, but it was a really brief time. And, my movies are on there forever, and other places too. So we do have to take care of streaming. We have to figure out a better agreement with streaming, whether it's views, which they're tracking, or whatever it is. But it's just a crossroads in our time, and we have to look at that. And you're probably seeing on the news the actors may strike next week. The directors did sign their deal. UPS has a strike pending. The hotel workers in Los Angeles are on strike. I'm going to join them tomorrow on the picket line. We're doing some cross contamination with the picket lines, and there is a labor upheaval happening, and I am here for it.
Here to that.
Yeah, and one of our previous guests, Greg, her name is Whitney Ann Adams. She is a wardrobe designer in the industry. Are they and we talked to her last year, and she was talking about how their wages are low and they feel underappreciated, especially on the pay scale. Are they involved in this in somehow, or no? Do you know anything about that?
It's peripheral. The most awful way they're involved is that when we're on strike, there are no jobs. So not only did I walk away from my job, but when a show shuts down, we had 355 employees on the show. So that's your wardrobe friend. That's makeup. That's hair, cameraman. And that's what the studios know, but they don't acknowledge, which is that it all starts with the written word. There's nothing to go from until you have that script. An idea from a producer is not a show. So it's that's a sad thing. The second way is that she's probably in the union IATSE, and they avoided their strike last year or a year before, maybe the year before. Again, sorry, the Panini has everything.
I'm with you. Oh, totally with you.
And that was for you, Zach. So you've got a lot of people that are unhappy because the pie is not being shared. And I'm not saying we're greedy and that we deserve more because we create it. That's not true. It takes all of us. It takes the producers. It takes the actors. It takes the writers. It takes the director. It takes wardrobe. It takes all of those people. I think I said that maybe in the post you put up a second ago, Doug. I said something like that in one of my strike posts. But it's important that we do stick together. So your friend that is out of work as a wardrobe person, my heart breaks because maybe I could hire her.
Yeah.
So let's stay on the strike a bit, if you don't mind, because I believe it's fascinating. So obviously there's been negotiations going on before the strike, and then the strike is, at the end. I think it's, it was at the end of the contract, right? So I think, am I wrong by saying that that this may go a little bit of long, because it's going to be hard for y'all to really get into this? Not hard, but it's going to be really complicated, because it feels like there's 100 streaming companies, and y'all are like, yeah, is that, what are y'all feeling as far as, I mean, you can never know how long it's going to go, but how are y'all bracing for this?
Let me explain it this way. Okay, Daddy, can you drink a beer and eat a nacho at the same time? Are you
Mostly.
able to navigate a beer and a plate of nachos?
Yes.
Well, guess what? The AAMTP isn't. They can only negotiate with one union at a time. You heard me. So we were first, didn't go, so we went on strike. The directors were up next. They couldn't meet with us anymore because they'd put that nacho down now and focus on that beer. They had to work with the directors. Well, we can't talk to you writers right now. So we've just been waiting since May 2nd. Now, Zach, you have a gay man on a show. You see Daddy on the screen. It's gonna come out. It is gonna come out. I don't have a filter. The Marines took that away from me.
That's the way we like it.
With a gun.
Yes, you're
so that's the front thing. So the DGA was up next. They got a deal. They liked it. They got sort of what your wardrobe friend is after. The assistant directors in that deal got a shorter work day and better conditions. And I think so that was a win-win-win, but there were some other things that they caved on a little too quickly that we didn't appreciate as a sister union, that maybe if they had held out, it would have given our negotiations more power. But we're at peace with the Directors Guild. They're good. They're signed. They're a different world. Now it's the actors, Screen Actors Guild. Their contract was up next. We still can't talk to you writers. I hope your nachos aren't getting cold, but sorry. We're going to talk to the actors now. So they talked to the actors. And then, God bless America, we had a birthday that slowed everything down, and they asked for an extension till July 12th. So that extension is coming. And when that deadline comes on July 12th, the actors will be presented the deal that the people who are unable to balance a beer and a nacho have negotiated with the head of their union. So the head of their union will come to them and say, this is what we have. We're getting more residuals. We're getting better work hours. All you old people are going to get replaced by AI. Oops. But here's the deal. And then the SAG, the actor members, which I'm a member of that also, I'm voting in that as well, will say, yes, we'll take that deal, or, oh, no way, honey, we're going on strike. And then they'll hit the picket lines with us. You might have seen God, I hope social media isn't just jammed. Maybe I hope it is jammed with pictures of the strike, but you often see actors out there with writers. We're all one world. That's okay. In this same post, not in this photograph, but there's other photos in it. One of the stars of our show is with us. That's our showrunner right there. And then, that's the head writer of Jeopardy, Michelle Silverman. 30 years she's been at Jeopardy.
Whoa.
And she's right there in the picket line. Ironically, her office is right behind us. That's why we're picketing there. I've known her all of those 30 years.
That's cool.
And my show's a Sony show too. There's Ana Arroyo. She plays Captain Fajardo in our show. And she's fantastic. And she had been on another trip. And as soon as she got back, the first thing she did when she got back was hit the picket lines with us. So, we're picketing our show. There's two Marines I mentor. I'm sorry, Addison, I gave you a promotion. Addison's in the Army. Kathy is a Marine. Addison is Army. As you were, Addison. Those are, I mentor for the Writers Guild has a program for military veterans wanting to transfer into screenwriting. And I mentor for that program. And those are two of my guys from like 4 years ago.
Excellent.
So, we are united. We are out there to improve our conditions. And I'm at the end of my career. I'll be 63 in a week or so. And that's not, I'm not somebody that's going to be hired like for the next 30 years on a show, but I'm marching every day for the younger writers. They deserve to have some of the experiences that I did, not the 35 writers in a room, but I've written on 2 other Norman Lear shows, and we had a good 8-10 writers in the room, and we needed them.
What is the key to looking as great as you do at 63? Is it that good, clean living Like what?
It's I have just teams of plastic surgeons circling me all around. No, and Chris, I love that hashtag. Thank you, Chris Carlton. I don't. It's all genetics. Everything about it. You and I both learned, and Greg, you as well, that genetics are what put us in the hospital with our heart attacks.
Yes.
I can look this good and be in. I look amazing. Let's face it. I
You
can
do.
look this good and I can be in shape and I can work out, and I still cannot fight that my father died of a heart attack at 64. So, but that doesn't stop me from doing my pitiful little old man walks, and well, I'm now I'm getting my steps in on the picket lines.
Yeah.
And I know I didn't, I love talking about anything you want to talk about. So I wasn't evading your questions about the content of the book, but I do want to. I know that the strike is on everybody's minds because it's going to affect your entertainment coming up. So let's man,
and that really sucks, Greg, because obviously it sucks that y'all have to go to this extreme for your job.
You are so not wrong about the Michael Douglas thing. I have some pictures somewhere where we are literally twinning.
I just put it up, Greg.
And I just shaved my head because of the show. I usually have I look more.
Yeah, I was gonna say normally
the streets of San Francisco era.
Yeah. So I have to give your background a complete and solid 10. I don't even have to discuss it. It's
here
great.
we go. Rate your background.
Yeah, we're gonna rate your background. We do that to everybody. And look at that. That is great. Holiday Rush. It was on my list before I met you, Greg. So I need to get to I saw that one. I believe it was out last year, right?
So 2019. Romany.
Okay.
Romany
Right.
is a brilliant, generous man. He was a Marine. I made him take the job. He didn't want to. He passed on the script, and I said, "Not so fast, Marine." And his chemistry with Sonequa Martin Green is real and lovely. And Romany is just a great guy.
Yes, and it's good. It's good. I like the representation of Black people and the family and the Christmas and all that. So I am here for that.
Dion Cole is so funny. Oh, you get two people in one when you hire Dion because he's very humble about it. But Dion's been a writer for Conan for almost 20 years.
Wow. And Doug, we say that people don't have jobs for the same job for 30 years anymore. And it's great.
Apparently we're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also great to hear those stories of when they do. And what for Holiday Rush, what was exactly your role, Greg? I
wrote it and produced it.
We got some big wigs on this stream, dog. I don't know how you're doing it, kid.
Greg and I.
It was a fun movie to write. It was a really fun movie to shoot. We had wanted to shoot it in California, where we had these amazing twins. I had written and given a lot of the jokes to twin 6-year-olds. So when we got to New York, where we had to shoot it, we found great twins. They were wonderful, but they weren't actresses yet. They've been training. And so I learned a lot of lessons. It's okay to learn lessons at our age.
Yeah. I will say I am fortunate that Greg and I became friends a number of years ago on Facebook, I think over writing, but I think I can't remember if it was Good Men Project or if it was Huffington Post kind of stuff. And so, that's how we connected. And Greg, once in a while we will talk. He's talked to my wife a few times. Greg is very generous with his time, and you see how busy he is. The idea that he takes time to talk to us normies is it's pretty great, and we really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm so happy to be here and talk to you. And I'm striking right now, so I have a little more time than usual.
that helps, right? For our sake, it does anyway, right?
That's true. Greg, before we move on, is there anything else you want to talk about the Pink Marine before we because sometimes we might get into silly stuff or serious stuff, and then we may not be able to come back. I don't know if there's other people out here that write or have wanted to write a story or I know besides you, Doug, but
it was a joy to write. I will say that the time that I spent writing the book was really the most joyous time of my life, because I didn't have a producer over me. I didn't have an agent barking at me for pages, no showrunner. It was me alone, free to be as crazy as I could. And I'm so happy that worked. And it taught me once again to trust my authentic voice. And that's what I learned in the Marine Corps as well. I learned that I had to serve illegally. I was gay in the Marines back when it was illegal. That's what the show's about. That's what the book is about. And the idea that I had to hide my authentic self while serving, and while the Marines were expecting me to live up to their standards, was a true conflict. And I fought through it, and I learned a lot from it. But I also learned that it's important enough to always be authentic.
Yes. And Doug, you got something, Doug, real quick? Because I'm going to stay on the book.
I do before we,
Okay.
if you're going to stay in the book, but this is book and show related.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So mine is, please tell us how you met and became friends with Norman Lear. Like that's a flex. I don't care. That's a pretty big flex.
Oh, sweet Norman. Here's where he introduced me to Hillary.
Jesus.
Whoa.
That was awfully nice.
That's awesome.
Whoa.
That was a good party. Never in a million years. By the way, Zach, I have been out there. I am so old that I dated Roddy McDowell. And as you know, he donated the Rose Garden, and I think the sculpture of Cornelius is there. So, but I'm sorry that I haven't met your dad, but I hope that I do get to shake his hand one day.
There you go.
Norman Lear. So I wrote on my own on the side. I got out of the Marine Corps, moved to New York to study acting and writing. And I I don't have an education, didn't know what I was doing, but I was auditioning some, and I was reading scripts and kind of learning the format. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and a writer's strike hit. And as I said earlier, Daddy, when the writer's strike hits, your wardrobe friend isn't working, neither are the actors. So there were no auditions, but I had all these scripts, and I just thought, I can write this. So I sat down and started learning the craft, and I needed a job. And I asked my mom, what should I do to pay the bills? I want to write. And she said, just go sign up for a temp agency. That way you can work, when you want to work, and you don't have to work when you don't want to work, or you have a job. So, that Cornelia statue is a little buoy. I got a job at Citibank, and I'm at Citibank. I didn't know what I was doing. I can't even type. I still can't, but I can write, but I can't type. I was just there to be a live body. Anyway, Norman Lear had bought the third largest movie theater chain and used a loan from Citibank. When the loan was finished, he took one of the bankers from Citibank that I'd worked with and hired him away full time. And as that banker left, he said, I know you want to be a writer. If I hear something coming up at the office, at the studio, I'll let you know. And by God, he came through. It was a year later. I wasn't working at Citibank anymore, but he remembered, and he really called, and there was something. And I went down and I was interviewed, and they said, we know you want to be a writer, but don't show Norman a script for a year. Pay your dues. And I'm like, of course, that's nothing. So I got the job, came to work the next day. Norman walked up and introduced himself and said, I hear you're a writer. I thought, well, I don't really know how to answer that. I told him I did, and I was, and he said, have a script on my desk the next day. He loved the script. He thought it was great. He started sending it around to friends to help me get an agent, to help me get meetings from the get-go. And then I stayed there and worked with him for years, and we developed things, and I wrote on a show of his called Powers That Be. There's a poster over there. Yeah. It was John Forsythe and Helen Taylor. It's a great show, really funny show. And then we did development stuff. We worked on. I kind of discovered Margaret Cho. We started working on stuff for her, and then Disney won her out. They offered more money. We were with Sony, and then I got on another show, and we just kept building our relationship. And along that way, he loved the Marine Corps stories. I did a rewrite on a script for him. For a while, we had a script in development where Arnold Schwarzenegger was playing the Tooth Fairy. It left us and went on, and The Rock made it.
That's right. I remember that. When I say that sounds like the Rock movie, The Tooth Fairy.
So when we had it, Norman gave the script to me and said, why don't you rewrite this so that Schwarzenegger's character is a drill instructor by day at boot camp and the Tooth Fairy at night. And it worked. It was great. Arnold loved it. I had 2 fun meetings with him. He's hilarious. And he actually really is funny. And then that project went away. So Norman always knew the Marine thing, loved the Marine thing. Norman flew 52 combat missions in World War II. He signed up to kill Nazis, and he did it. He took extra shifts to kill more Nazis. And because he's a veteran, because he's a legendary LGBTQ rights activist, because I know him, when it came time to find somebody to write the foreword for the book, he was perfect, and he was very generous. And then as we started developing the show, he wanted in. And he was so instrumental in the way that we developed it. He stuck with the themes and the period. The show is about friendship. I said accidentally, with my best friend. And that's what the show is about. It's about 2 very unlikely best friends in this unlikely, dangerous world of the Marine Corps. Thanks, Jonathan. I am amazed every day that I get to work with him, or even that he takes my call, or that he calls me or sends me an email. He is 100 years old, to be 101 at the end of next month.
Yep.
He works every day. He's totally involved in every script, every casting decision, everything there is. When the strike broke out, he had 2 shows in production. He doesn't fuck around, honey.
Yeah.
He has another show with the comedian George Wallace and Laverne Cox, and that's done. That's shot and finished. It's coming on Freevee whenever it's edited. And so he had 2 shows in production at the same time at 100, and he is there for all of it.
Man, it's just a shame because it feels like the strike happened at a bad time when we were finally picking up momentum in the industry after the panty, or the panini, as you say, because that shut down everything. Where were you, and what were you doing during that era, and how did that work out? Like, looking back, how did the panini affect the whole industry? What was your take on that one?
It was awful. It was the worst thing that ever happened to us, next to a certain former president. The panini was rotten. I don't know that anything good came out of it. I'll never find a blessing from it. Even the fact that we had enough in-person meetings with Sony to develop the show and then sell the show and write the show for 2.5 years, all on Zoom. That's still not a blessing. Yes, I'm thrilled that my story is becoming a show, but I'm not thrilled that it was during the panini. I don't think I ever want to see another panini. I don't want to hear about paninis. I want paninis off the menu. And it's they're
not really great for us anyway.
No, I'll tell you personally, the awful part was that I have a Canadian boyfriend who could come home in any minute and text me, and you guys have to hide under the bed, and I've got to run. But I think we're good for a while. He was in Montreal at the time, and I was in LA. Border got shut. We did not see each other for 14 months. And that's bad.
Oof. Right. There's one thing to be in a long-term relationship, but there's another thing to be in a long-term relationship. And y'all can't even
see each other. Yeah.
See each other, or like meet each other at a
that's the right shade. That's the right shade to it right there, Greg, because we were already, it was difficult for us to spend time together. Luckily he doesn't work very much. I'm free. I can write anywhere. And so we were good. a few months here, a few months there. And we also had a place in Florida that we just got rid of. But, we were always just going somewhere. And then when we couldn't, it was rough. Luckily, we had started a habit 15 years ago when we first met and had to be apart for a month or 2 months. We started hanging out on Skype every day. And I would put on, I still do, sorry. I started putting on a live cooking show. And he likes to get involved. He thinks he's a director. He's like, you're going to burn the fish. That's too much salt. And so he's just kicked back having a cocktail, directing me through trying to make fettuccine Alfredo. So we already had that habit down. And that's what kept us around during the panini was we had
foundation.
We were already used to hanging out on Skype. So I would do my work in the day. I wrote a ton. Not because I don't do that. I was in the zone and I wrote 5 screenplays with a partner. They're all out there in various stages. Well, not now, but I was being really productive, not because I was stuck in a room, because look, you don't have to tell a writer to sit themselves in a room, but and not talk to anybody. Really? Oh, what? Please.
That sounds dreadful.
But so yeah, I cranked out a bunch of work, and still nothing good came out of that panini. And then when I eventually did get to Montreal, I think there's a cute story on New York Times Modern Love podcast about when I finally got to go to Montreal.
Is Modern Love the Dan Savage podcast?
No, it's with the New York Times. I don't know. No. It gets better.
Savage.
Right?
He does Savage Love. Sorry.
Savage Love. Okay. Modern Love's. I think it's just the New York Times podcast.
Okay.
I don't know. But it was tough. So long answer to your short question, shit came out of that.
Gotcha. One last.
But shit stinks louder than success.
Okay. One last question, or maybe not, because Doug may follow me up. But so I want to make the transition from book to TV show. So now I know that the TV show is delayed for the strike. But can you tell us what can you tell us about it? I'm excited about it. Is it a direct adaptation of the book? Is it a series? Do I have to binge it? Doug's not a binger. So do we know how many parts we're in? What's going on?
We
give
don't know.
Give us some tea.
So it's 10 episodes. We've finished the pilot and we shot some of the next 2, and then hopefully what happens, and this is this is horrible, but it's the reality. We have to hope that when the strike is over, Netflix orders us back into production. They may not. I see no reason for them not to. They want to. They love the show. It's a direct adaptation, so it was really fun casting an openly gay actor to play the character based on me, because that's something that in my lifetime. Now I don't know how old everybody is in this chat, but I'm sure you're not 63, and I certainly didn't get to see in my day people encouraged to audition as openly gay actors.
Right.
Down.
Right.
So thrilled about that. And Jonathan, 10 episodes is actually kind of a big order. 6 and 8 is becoming the norm.
Yeah,
I thought for 13, because 13 is the 13 weeks of boot camp. But the book is all boot camp. I'm writing a sequel, but the first part of this book is just enlisted boot camp, the 13 weeks at Parris Island, and then the show is the same thing. We start on week 1, and episode 10 ends when the boys graduate.
And then will that be the full, or is there any chance in the writing for like another season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is just season 1. We meet the boys, and the Marines are a unique branch of service, not just because we're the best, but also we're small, and so there's a good chance you're going to see some of the same people in other places. So it's not unusual to graduate from Parris Island and then run into some of the people that you served with at other Marine Corps bases.
Real quick, Doug. So what is your official? Did you have anything to do with the casting? I mean, I know you're a writer, and I know you wrote it and you wrote the book, but do you have a bigger role in the TV show?
Yes, I'm the co-executive producer as well. So It's so crazy to see my name on that line next to Norman's.
Right. Wow.
That
Excellent.
is
Excellent.
imposter syndrome right there. If anybody ever wants to know what it feels like.
Yeah,
that.
we talk about that here for sure. Yeah. Yeah. What's up, Doug?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Greg. I'm sorry, Greg.
Everything.
And then
So
Doug.
casting, production. I was on the ground. We were shooting in New Orleans. So I had moved there, set up house. We were going to the set every day. It is so crazy to walk onto the set. They have built an exact replica of a Paris Island boot camp squad bay.
Wow.
I mean, that might not be news that's out there. So, but
Yeah.
Anyway, they have. So it was really crazy. I enlisted with my best friend, so that's what the show's about. Straight best friend, gay guy, have to keep the gay secret to serve together, and that's what the show's about. So my best friend Dale, we're still best friends, by the way. He lives here in California. He's a surgeon, and I'm the godfather to his beautiful 3 daughters. And so Dale went with me to shoot. He had never been to any of my film shoots before, so he wanted to come out, and it was so cool because the cast and the crew working on the show that had read the book and read the scripts that we'd written and they understood the friendship on paper. It was really fun to watch them get to see it in real life, that it still exists.
That's pretty cool. Like really cool.
For a week, it was great.
Yeah. I will say the idea of filming in New Orleans in May going through June would be a daunting task. I've been in New Orleans once, and it was in April, and it was super humid and sticky even then.
It is. First off, I was really thrilled to shoot there because that's where the book starts off. I went to school there. That's where I met Dale, and that's where we enlisted in the Marines. But the weather is awful. It's been, not so bad when we were shooting, but hopefully when the strike is over, which is I think Greg also brought that up point. Do we see an end in sight? And I said how hard it was to negotiate. We don't have an end in sight, but I can't imagine that it would go past September. The last strike, I believe, was 100 or 101 days, and we're at 68, maybe.
Oh, one more for 69. Anyway, my 12-year-old brain jumped in there.
I should have.
Yeah, whatever. Sorry, I do that.
Daniel, I do also
Wow.
narrate. Daniel Fisher, I do narrate the audiobook. Thanks for noticing that. And
yeah,
I had to audition for that.
You had to audition or do your own audiobook?
Yeah. Not that I didn't know about that. I just, when my agent called to tell me about that, I was like, audition for it, honey. I've been dining out on these stories for 30 years. And she's like, yeah, but if they get a star to do it, it may sell more books and you'd make more money. So I was like, oh, okay. So
Did you beat out a star?
That's the way to sell it, Doug. I like that.
You didn't answer the question. Did you beat out a star?
Oh, I thought you said you did beat out a star. Yeah, clearly
No,
I beat
no.
out a star because it's my voice.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
Not that you're not a star, Greg. Let's make that clear. You're a star. But like we're talking.
Thanks.
Like, if you have Ben Affleck coming in to read it, which would be dreadful, by the way. But
I think there's like stars with recognizable voices, and they would probably want it to be a gay guy. So maybe Michael Patrick King. I mean, sorry, Michael Patrick Harris.
Yes.
Not Dan Levy. It'd be funny to have Dan Levy do it.
Yeah, he hadn't really taken off yet, but yes. I just wonder how that AI narration is going to get pretty good, Zach. Actors are already, you guys know, or you probably read that actors are not here and not popular actors, but people that need the money are selling their likenesses to AI.
There was a whole episode of Black Mirror about that. Salma Hayek sold her likeness, and they took advantage of it of a show and made her do
she really was in the first show that I saw. That was my first script that I ever sold. Was Salma Hayek was the guest star. It was an HBO show, and she was awesome. It was her first U.S. job. Dream On.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was her first U.S. job. She was great. She would not take her top off, but she let the actor reach down her blouse. That was a compromise.
That's
not off camera, Greg. part of the script.
Yeah.
Got a fan here.
Thanks, Daniel. That was a really fun show to write on, because it was a way for Universal to use clips from their old movies, their old movie catalog. So as a writer, you would write the scene and you would just, say, and this causes him anxiety. And then there was a person, Marcelo Zaparovich, who would go and sort through all the movies and find a clip that supported that particular anxious moment that he was having. So it was really fun to write that.
Really? Wow. That had to be a really difficult job to because of how all the catalog would be large.
But it goes to show you, again, to speak to what a team makes everything happen. It's not just the writers, there's researchers. And, if a question comes up on the set of my show, Pink Marine, which, by the way, it's right now Netflix is working titling it The Core, but that's not what it's going to be. But it's not, the show probably will not be Pink Marine on television because that doesn't translate to certain languages. But so Dream On was a way to use that catalog, and it was a good example of writers, editors, researchers all working well together. And I think it's on YouTube, but I do wish that HBO would start running them again because, as Art and Daniel are attesting, it's a really fun show. Wendy Malick, great unseen character. Unseen characters are some of the funniest. You might remember Carlton the doorman and Mary Tyler Moore, and any character that's unseen. And in Dream On, Wendy Malick's ex-husband was this amazing guy. And he might be, I think in the episode that I wrote with Salma Hayek, he was performing his own brain surgery. So he could do anything. He saved children in burning buildings. He did and while he was running a marathon, like if we had him run a marathon, he would do something spectacular during the marathon. So that was an unseen character. Always fun to write.
Excellent story. What's up, Doug?
So let's segue just for a minute, Greg, if we may.
Yeah.
So we're going to do our second beer.
Then we're going to get messy a little bit.
Yep. So this is from Lucky Hair Brewing. This is a Lapsang tea lager. So here it is. Now, Lapsang tea is very smoky. So it's basically a smoked tea lager. And it smells like that's Skrilenka one that everybody that's from Germany, that's very smoky. That's what this smells and tastes like. And it is really good. But man, super smelly, smoky, really good. Campfire.
Did they send you that to review on the air?
No, we're not popular enough to get free beer yet. So
keep saying those names.
Yeah.
Oh, we've gotten free beer though. Don't front that.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. But that brewery is one that is from the Finger Lakes in New York. They recently opened a spot that's about 20 miles from me. In a brewery that went bankrupt, unfortunately, due to the panini. So, but I'm going to tell you, Greg, if you like smoked beers, you would really like this.
I love smoked beers. I love them. Doug, I already know you love this beer, and a lot of people do. It's Dragon's Milk.
Oh, the new labeling.
The bourbon barrel, yeah, with the new labeling. And I actually got
brave enough to milk a dragon.
Yeah,
I know. And it's really, really tasty. Nice little balance between the stout and the bourbon. And Doug, I actually got one that didn't have a label.
Oh.
And I realized that I should get remember when you got stuff without a label and it'd be like a collector's item? I wonder if I could turn it in for 6 cases of more beer. But that's not happening. But I had to scramble right before the show because I realized the one that I didn't have a label. But
that could
the label
be
or not, great.
That could be a cost-cutting measure by the brewery. They have 6 bottles and they're like, oh, why waste a label on every bottle? They know what it is. There's 6 others.
Here, let's just put the label on one. Send it out.
They'll figure it out.
Man, it's tough times out there everywhere for sure, though. For sure. Greg, we know that you're a foodie. So we have some food questions for you. We normally do, but now we do. So an easy one first. I think it's going to be easy, but I'm not sure. Actually, what do y'all call this?
It looks like a sub.
Hoagie.
Is it a hoagie with processed meat? That can be.
Oh yeah.
Hoagie. Okay.
Oh yeah. So,
it looks like the Subway BMT.
Mm-hmm.
so Doug, we're gonna split some hairs here. So I think this is a sub, but Doug, I understand that you and I know the hoagie because we come from that area, and I love hoagies. But doesn't the bread stay together for a hoagie?
I always called all those things hoagies because that's where it was where I was. Is like whether it was a sub, some people like
Oh, okay,
that was
okay.
just like in the middle
All
of
right, all
Podunk,
right, all right.
Pennsylvania. It was always hoagies.
A hoagie,
Right.
I've never lived in the Northeast for long periods of time, but it sounds like I thought a hoagie was hot.
No, a grinder is hot, right?
Grinder.
Grinders where there's a lot of congressmen and senators.
Yes, there is.
And many of them vote against gay rights and stuff like that too. Right?
Oh yeah,
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Make sense out of that. We can't. We wouldn't be able to in a 5-hour video. So we're not going to try on this.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Zach, that's some harsh words, my friend.
He's hot about it.
He literally, well, he's hot under the collar about you calling me daddy. So I think we have some residuals for that. Also, let's talk about drinks, guys. Let's talk about drinks real quick. 2 have to go, and we'll start with our guest. I know number 6 is not going because that's what our guest has. So.
I'm going to kill, even though I grew up with it and it was a wonderful invention, I would kill Kool-Aid and Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew has caffeine in it for some bizarre reason.
I am in 100% agreement with our guest.
Oh, so it's Kool-Aid and Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the husband.
Uh-oh.
Y'all better hide under the bed. Oh no, he's just reminding me to take my heart pills.
All right. Well,
that's good though.
Doug and I are going to go hide.
No, he's good. We're good. Okay, so we're safe for now. He's at a dinner party in Montreal.
Yeah.
He's home. Oh, he's home. But we'll wrap it up in 15 minutes.
It's all good. And also, like I said, we can.
No, I just bought us 15 minutes before he'll come in and kick your ass. Okay, so everybody agreed with the tea. Did everybody agree with the tea? Sweet tea is obnoxious. That's true.
I was gonna say sweet tea is
pretty
sweet. Or you have to add like 6 packets. It's just sweet tea is kind of a mess. Ideally, it's great if it's good sweet tea. But like, it's just hard to find good sweet tea, in my opinion. It's kind of like, I think about it like Doug and I was talking about Long Island iced teas. Love Long Island iced teas. It's just hard to get a really good one. Yeah. So that's where I'm gonna go sweet tea and Kool-Aid, y'all. Even though Mountain Dew is probably on my list to go. And then probably Pepsi too. Pepsi's way too sweet. I don't like Coke either.
And Jonathan, I agree with you. I'm gonna fight you on the lemonade only because I've had kidney stones, and that's a good drink to prevent more kidney stones from building.
Yeah,
so
and if
fight for lemonade.
Yeah, sweat tea. I'm going.
Beyonce. I got
sweat tea.
I
noticed that.
Oh my God! I just noticed it was sweat tea. Has it always been sweat tea?
Now that's got to go. If it's sweat tea, nobody's drinking that.
Look, it depends on what you're into. I'm not going to judge anybody.
That's fair. We food shame in the show.
Craft beer. That's a craft beer right there.
Sweat tea. Yes. Oh, I'm with the Kool-Aid for sure.
I know.
The no dairy thing is a killer for me. Yeah. So it might leave the Pepsi, right?
I need chocolate milk because I have little kids that like to visit, and they always think you're special if you can give them chocolate milk.
Yeah, yes, and y'all getting called out here a little bit. How did the writers
I know.
Fair.
In my defense, I'm on strike.
Salty and sweat. Yeah,
I'm on strike. Well,
that's funny though. I missed it too on this. That's great. Sweat tea. Right. And orange juice, man. Orange juice is so sweet. It needs to be watered down a little bit, but I'm gonna keep orange juice though because I like.
What do you water it down with? Vodka?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the way to water
There you
town.
You already know, Greg. You don't even have to ask. So
I know,
we're
I
gonna.
know what daddy's juice is. I know what
No.
daddy's juice is.
Oh yeah, right. Now this is stuff that none of y'all should be eating, and I can liberally say that none of y'all should be eating this. But we're gonna get rid of 2, Doug. Starting with Greg, though. We're gonna get rid of 2. None of y'all shouldn't eat any of this shit.
Oh, this is so hard.
So
I'm doing this for health reasons.
okay. So we're using the health excuse. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to get rid of. I love them both. I really love them, but I'm going to get rid of hot dogs and egg rolls because of the processed meat and the MSG.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's harder.
Yes.
Neither of those are whole foods.
Yes. The Gregs agree. What do you got, Doug? I could never give up tacos. It ain't happening.
I'm having tacos when we get off.
But y'all, but y'all could. I need the corn. Tortillas. I mean, the floppy corn tortillas, not those.
Oh, you want them crunchy?
Yeah, not the fried ones. Yeah, I gotta avoid the fried stuff. So
there are some of the crispy ones that actually have no sodium in them, though. Just for the record.
That's good.
Yeah.
But if they're still fried, it's kind of a But get anyway, going.
I'm going to get rid of 2. It's going to be egg rolls and, God damn it, crabs. Crabs are not bad. They're just a lot of work and not a lot of meat.
I do like a soft shell crab.
I like crab cakes, but that's it.
Yes.
I'm also not a
big. What's up, Doug? You were say something?
I like crab cakes, but crabs and lobster, lobster's okay. Like it's a giant sea cockroach. Like it's not a gourmet thing to eat. And yeah, shrimps is great. And the lowercase s sets that perfectly off. Yeah.
Right. Daniel doesn't eat egg rolls off, so I guess they can go. Crabs. I need crab cakes. I'm not sitting there cracking that open, Greg. I'm not doing it. I never did it. My grandmother did it for me. I don't know. I think those crustaceans are too much work. I just want just give me the.
I'll special occasion it, but
yes. I like a good lobster tail. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know how y'all go up to Boston and then they just put a lobster on y'all plate. I don't know how y'all do that. Y'all in the comments tell me how you do it. Well, don't tell me. I know how you do it. You crack it open, but how do you do that? The damn thing's looking at you, y'all. It's just bizarre.
It's not alive.
But it's looking at you, dog.
Go for a lobster roll.
So then
go for a lobster roll.
Right, or lobster cakes are good too. Yeah. But Doug, whether it's dead or not, it's still looking at me. Stop it.
I'm gonna guess you're not a fan of taxidermy either.
What's that?
You don't know what taxidermy is?
Dead deers looking at me from the wall, hanging up. Come on, they're looking at me. I don't care if they're dead. I see eyes. That means they're looking at me, Doug. I can't do that. Like the thing's looking at you while you eat it.
Plus, when you eat lobster, you're busting up a couple.
Right.
But Greg's right. The lobster roll. If you're gonna have a lobster, that's the way to go.
That butter roll.
I haven't had a lobster roll, but I haven't been to Maine, and I'm waiting to go to Maine to do the lobster roll. Am I wrong for that?
They sell it, Greg. They butter the roll. They butter the roll and grill it. So the soft, sweet lobster with a little sauce, a little mayo sauce on it, is when you take that bite, you're also getting that crispy, buttery bread at the same time. It's you know what they're doing.
But do I have to go to Maine for that, or does any other place do them pretty good?
No, you can go to probably Alabama or Nantucket. Nantucket is big with it. South, Mobile, Alabama, New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
They have it. Yeah, they'll do lobster rolls there for you. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, good lobster rolls, Doug, because if you leave Pennsylvania, you can't get a good hold. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm going to tell you the best lobster rolls I've had is Maine.
I wouldn't go to Minnesota for a lobster roll. I'm just saying.
Right. I would go to Minnesota for beer, though, for sure. But that's it.
There you go.
Yeah. Soft shell crabs.
A lobster beer.
Yeah. Y'all do the soft shell crab?
I like it. I like it because it's not everybody's complaining about the work, which I'm here for that, of cracking everything. You just eat the whole thing.
Soft shell, you don't have to crack them. You could just eat them.
Right. So, Greg, real quick, while we're here, and Doug, you get follow up, of course, how does a writer who's interested in writing, and that's your job, obviously, I guess doing the food, because you said the food start with the boyfriend, or
with a blog.
Oh, so it was the blog, and then you were doing it with the boyfriend, just to spend some time with each other when you're all away. But so you started a food blog. Why?
I've always cooked. A lot of it's not unusual for a writer to cook, because we always do something else, because we'll do anything besides write, as Doug knows.
Yes.
It's hard to get us.
Oh man, I got to do this. No, you don't. You need to write. But no, I'm going to go do this instead.
We don't have a junk drawer. We don't have a disorganized closet. Our spices are alphabetized, because we'll do anything other than write. So I wasn't on a show.
They are. God damn it. Mine are right over there on the wall.
See? That's and you probably owe somebody a first draft though too.
I have a lot of drafts, unfortunately.
I wasn't on a show, and I really missed writing. And it actually does come back to the boyfriend, because he was encouraging me to write something. I wasn't ready to write the book yet. I didn't know long form narrative. I learned it through my blog. And he took my phone and said, "You've got 80 pictures of pie on here. Write about fucking pie." So I started a blog, and a lot of the stories were about the Marine Corps. A lot of them were humor stories about food. And then I started doing things with the Good Man Project, and Huffington Post picked up the blog. And when that happened, I got more attention, and Food Network found it. And so it started getting a little more serious, but also it was my way of teaching myself how to write long form narrative. So that blog was my master's degree in writing, to get ready to write my book. And then once the book was out, I shut the blog down, just because I didn't want anything else out there of my writing besides the book right now.
All right.
All right. Our comments went a little bit sideways there, and I jumped in, so apologies.
Guy Lube would sell. Guy Lube would sell.
Yeah. No, somebody used clarified butter as lube, and I said Guy Lube.
Hey, I have a friend that used a bread wrapper as a condom, so you're not off base.
Hey, necessity is the mother of invention, I think, is the way the phrase goes.
They're married now.
Greg, did you say this earlier? Can we verify that?
Yeah. It was, she couldn't come up with the names. And so a lot of the writers aren't on set all the time. We're in a little, they hide us. We're hideous. So they put us in another room, and the actors work on our material on the stage. And then we periodically go down and see how badly they've changed our words. And so, or stepped on our jokes, or made it better. And for the most case, actors are so wonderful. I love what they do to my work. You can watch any of my movies. I'm so grateful for that. But the sometimes when the writers are on the set, we're right around there, and we're looking for pitches. As a writer, you've probably heard the phrase "always be pitching." So Roseanne, and I had a friend that was on the show at the time, that's how I know this story, would just fire off, number 32, give me a better word for pink. Okay, number 17, what's funnier than show me to the table? So.
Okay.
So it was just a way to, and they had football jerseys on, so she could do. And then I believe that was only 1 year.
Okay. If it was good enough for my bread, it's good enough for my head.
It feels a great guy, Chris. Yes, to jump from being a staff writer to a showrunner is great. He had the ability to lead. He's a great guy. Phil is a great guy. He's so generous. He is a food guy.
Phil Rosenthal, yeah.
Everybody, Phil, he was so generous in his writer's room for Everyone Loves Raymond. Their lunches and their dinners were massive, catered affairs by some of the best chefs in town. He loves good food, and that's how he treated his writers. That's how he did the writer's room. It's a humanity.
Yeah, and he does a whole show, Somebody Feed Phil, which is awesome. Like the glee he has eating food is like so genuine, and it's just really great to watch. Like just wherever he goes, he eats his food, and he's just so excited to try new food. That just comes super through.
Yeah, he's super.
That's awesome. So Greg, we have one more question for you in case it's time for you to roll. But it's right here. So we would be, I think remiss is the word. I'm here with writers, so y'all kind of intimidating. If we did not ask the TV writer what he's currently watching. This should be fascinating. Anything you could recommend, anything that you feel is banging. Of course, you can promote any of your stuff too, because we would love to know that. What's going on, Greg?
I'm living for the 10th season of Alone. It's on History Channel.
Oh, that's
Oh
a good
wait,
show.
when did it drop?
It dropped a couple of months ago, so there's 4 or 5 episodes out. A 5th one should be out tonight online. Yeah,
I know what Greg's watching after the show tonight.
I
No, Greg Washington, because he's like, yeah, we both love that show.
I love that show.
I am watching the 4th season of Barry. You know, Barry was based on his character was a Marine sniper, and it's one of the greatest writers in the world created that show, Alec Berg. He came from Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm, and now Barry, and he runs that with Bill Hader, who stars in it. Barry is a fantastic show. I'm in 4th season right now that just dropped, and then as soon as that goes, I'm going to creak into the Bear because I'm going to miss it when it's gone. I hate that I'm going to watch the Bear because then there won't be any more to watch. But the Bear is the shit.
All right. What's up, Doug? Do you like the Bear too, right, Doug?
I will say, in my personal opinion, season 2, which we just finished today, the first half of the season is super slow. Okay. And then when it gets to the Christmas episode, which everybody raved about, and I thought was just too frenetic. It was too frenetic for me, but everything after that was good. So, because you know, on the first season, it had that there's a sort of freneticism to it that isn't overwhelming. That's what I loved about it. So, yeah, you can say that all you want. I'm not saying it sucks. I think it's really good. The first season was like every episode was a fucking knockout. And the second season is a little bit slower build for me, but that's okay.
I was picketing yesterday with a fellow writer who is really smart, and I respect her so much. And she said that there was, in the season finale, there was a device that the writer used that was really obvious, and it was effective, but it was super obvious. So
yeah, that would be correct.
I was worried about that too. But look, I'm still going to watch it despite your sheer hatred for it. And then, no, I'm kidding.
I don't hate it. No,
I was totally riveting. What about you, Greg? What do you watch?
Doug next, because Doug is the big watcher out of us. The whole segment is made for Doug. Yeah. So, Doug, you're next, buddy.
Yeah. So, what I'm watching is hold on, it's not letting me share it. There it is. All right.
Yeah. That's because I touched it. I'm sorry, Doug. You go.
No, it's no, for some reason it's not letting me share. What I'm watching is Foundation, which is on Apple Plus. It's based on Isaac Asimov's books, and I like a lot of Isaac Asimov.
The promo looks cool.
Yeah, so the promo has like Jared Harris in it, who's pretty much great in everything he's in. There's a couple other actors I don't recognize their names, but so yeah, I just started this the other day because we finished The Bear, and I was like, I need something new. And yes, Apple TV had a little glut there where they didn't have anything, but they're really starting to pick it up. I don't know, Greg, if Greg White, if you saw Severance on Apple Plus.
I didn't. I will go in and watch it. I hear it's great. Ted Lasso, all that. Apple had some good stuff. If you're liking Foundation, you might enjoy. Season 2 is being filmed now, but season 1 of Graham Yost show on Apple. I'm blanking on the name, but if you just look up Graham Yost, he's done a ton of, he wrote Speed, the movie, but his TV stuff is things like, I'm so bad. He's a legend. And
Silo.
I hear.
I watched all of that. I watched all of that. That show was awesome.
It's going to get a second season. So,
yep.
And then thank you, Jonathan. You know too. I will say, if you haven't watched The Last of Us, that's based on the video game. The third episode that everybody is calling the best hour of television of our time. That's our director for the pilot of Pink Marine.
Oh,
Now, listen, that's a high bar to say that's the best episode of television of our time. There's some other with the show that I would,
but
damn good.
they're saying
Must be damn good. Yeah, must be.
Yeah, that's so subjective, though, right? Like,
oh yeah,
I think it was a really good hour of television.
it was excellent.
Okay.
And
Doug, you're not buying it though.
And he didn't want to take that
up
part. The actor didn't want to take that part. You probably heard the story. And he's married to Megan Mullally, Karen from Will and Grace.
Yes.
And the actor, Nick Offerman, is her husband. And he read the script and he said, "No, I can't do this." And she said, "What are you talking about? You can't do something." And he said, "No, I'm not good enough to play this part." And she said, "Let me read the script." So she read it and she grabbed him by the short and curlies and said, "You're doing this part because you can." And she made him do it. And he is so grateful for that. That's not my story. That's theirs.
No, but I love that you called it short and curlies. That was great.
Doug, last questions?
No, we didn't get to what are you watching, Greg? Washington.
I've had a crazy family week, so I haven't really watched anything recently that's good, but I'm definitely going to get on Alone here in probably about a half an hour.
If you run if you're jonesing for situations like Alone,
yeah,
Bear Grylls, his show The Island, the first 2 seasons are on YouTube, the other are on Amazon Prime. But he takes I think 12 Brits, normal people, and puts them on an island, and they have to stay on for 6 weeks.
Yeah,
they suffer. They're suffering. If you love the suffering of Alone,
yeah, I need some suffering.
Be satisfied
right
on the thing.
Right. No. JHG.
Good animated show on Netflix. Yeah, one of our writers on Pink Marine wrote the Japanese anime show about the freed slave that stays on Yashuke, and that's becoming. He's also writing now the live action version of it, which is with I'm blanking on his name, but he was Lupin, the actor Lupin, the black French guy.
Yes.
So anyway, Yashuki, if you're into animated stuff on Netflix, is great.
Greg, this is my last question. The proliferation. I love using big words, Doug, that I think I know, but I'm not sure. The proliferation of all these streaming sites, is that overall good or bad for the industry and folks like you who work in it?
I'm glad you asked that question because you hinted or you started a lane that I was going to answer earlier when you talked about all the different streamers. And one problem is yes, Daniel, that's his name, Omar Sy, thank you. And Yashuke is going to be a live action thing with Forrest Whitaker as well. So Sony, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Disney, Fox, Warner Brothers. I realize Disney and Hulu are together, but you know what I mean? Those 7 people are the people that we're negotiating with. Well, they have to agree first. That's why it's so difficult. So Amazon may have a different viewpoint of their idea of what they want to agree to in our contract than Netflix does. So it's not just us negotiating with a solid group. There's infighting and disagreements in there because they all have different missions, and it's weird because we actually are kind of asking them to bet against themselves because they're having to make an agreement with their competition. So that's a hurdle that is happening that I'm not privy to, but Sony might be having a problem with something that Amazon is wanting to agree to, and vice versa. So there's a lot of chatter and a lot of people that have to coalesce. So it's not
bad, or
if the rest of your question is, does it hurt? It's nice to have the choices, and it actually helps the consumers have the competition.
Yep.
It helps monopolies from being formed and prices from going any higher than they already are. So we need that competition, and we want choices and places. But yeah, I don't think we'll be looking for a new streaming service anytime soon to emerge.
Right. But is it again, would you categorize it as better or worse for workers like industry workers? that we have so many now.
It's worse than that. Well, here's what's not great is somebody mentioned the fact that Pink Marine is a standard episode order, 10 episode order. That's pretty standard, but that's only since streaming came around. If we were on network, it'd be a 22 episode order, and I'd be, calling you from my beach house. This is my beach house, a little bit closer to the beach, but it's 22 episodes is enough to sustain a career. That's one of the things we're negotiating and we're striking about is streaming services are only 10 episodes, 8 episodes, 6 episodes. Yeah. I can't run my life on that. I'm expensive.
Right.
I'm expensive.
But
you should be.
But it's not about being greedy at all. It's about
fair wages,
a fair wage. And
yes.
The corporations, their profits are clearly broadcast and published, and clearly there's a disparity between basically the gig worker and the big cat.
Awesome. And I will let Doug have the last question or word, Greg. And I want to thank you for joining us and bringing your expertise and your insight, which Doug and I have no idea about any of this. So we love that you're able to come and talk to us about this. So yeah, thank you for coming on before I see to Doug.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Greg. I mean, I reached out to you and I was checking in on you like, hey man, how's things going with the strike? And like, are you okay? And you're like, yeah, thanks for checking in. And then I talked to Jill and I was like, why the fuck haven't I asked Greg to be on the show? Like, I was like, I know Greg, like, why have I not done that? Like one of those dumb epiphanies, like something that should have happened way sooner. I should have asked way sooner.
Well, I'm glad you did. Tell Jillian hello. I'm glad that you did because this was a conversation that I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you coming and giving us a bit of an education on sort of the backroom stuff that we don't know. So,
and Zach is not wrong. I do have there are
don't encourage Zach.
There are upstairs slippers and downstairs slippers. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you and Zach are one and the same. Zach has slippers.
My favorite cereal, Manny. I mix it up. I literally take bite-sized shredded wheat, just unsweetened, and I mix it with Trader Joe's maple nut clusters. I mix that together, and then that's my cereal.
Wow.
Now Manny's a cereal mixer too, so you hit him right where he loves it. So
sweet.
Daniel, don't encourage him. Don't encourage him, Daniel. Not right. No. Right. I knew I liked this.
You guys are awesome. I'll talk to you guys anytime. Thanks for the conversation. Thanks for the really cool questions.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. And Greg, take care, and we'll catch you later.
Yeah, we love to check in with you after your thing goes. We'll talk to you. We'll have Doug.
I have a website, pinkmarine.com. If you ever want to check more things out about it and videos and stuff. My video I made with Betty White, she's priceless. So
you know Betty White too. Yeah. You're definitely a real one, Greg. Thank you.
Look, I can only drop these names because the Marine Corps made me strong enough to pick them up.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, I love it. And on that note, we'll let Greg go. Thank you, Greg. That was awesome.
Thank you, Greg.
Yes.
Dude, that was fun.
Yeah, and I was scrambling. I had a crazy weekend. I was scrambling to do some research before, but it was really quick and easy, and it was really fun, like looking like in his past and coming up with questions for this one, Doug.
Yeah, and I met him through like Goodman Project stuff when he used to write there a million years ago, and I was just like, Greg's such a super fascinating guy. Why have I not like I literally said to Jill, like, why have I not asked him? Like, he's the perfect guy to have on the show. Like, not just because of the Pink Marine in the show yet. He's a fascinating guy.
Right.
And that's the kind of people we like having on. So, thanks for indulging me on that.
Right. Me, I had no choice, actually, right? So anyway. So we have what do we have, Doug? Oh, we have something here, don't we? Yeah, we do. I love that we're so scripted that I never know what the hell to do. Damn, these transitions are fucking loud in my ears. Are they loud for y'all too? Maybe I need to tone them down.
Yeah, the volume on that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't remember them being that loud. But we do have some past guest news for y'all. We have been Doug and I both have been slipping on our past guest news.
Yes.
What happens is we talk about it during the week and then we forget about mentioning it on Fridays. So we're not going to do that this time. We got this bit of news that I want to share because she is a friend of the show, a personal friend of ours too, and I'm working on that. We have a baby announcement from our friend Carla Lauder, the main ear babes. Yes, 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 yes. If y'all were wondering, probably not, but if y'all were wondering why Carla and I haven't had our Thursday space about beer, this is the reason, y'all. She told me a couple months ago, and she said she's pregnant, she's not going to be drinking beer. So I'm like, well, we can wait for all that. And I just wanted her to concentrate on having the baby. And yeah, it's gonna be great, fun, wonderful, love it. And Zach has an announcement apparently. So while we're here,
I got an announcement for Zach after this because I got a beer for him.
Okay.
But
I'm glad that we let Greg go, but I'm sure Greg will be cool with.
Craig would probably think that's funny.
Well, he was calling me daddy all.
Yeah, well, hey.
What's my name?
When in Rome.
Well, what's my name?
I know. Yeah, daddy.
Yeah, Doug. So yes, shout out to Carla. I hope things go well from here, and hopefully, I can't wait to see some pictures in a couple months. So that's fun. This book, yeah, Doug, I'm gonna have to get this book though, this Pink Marine book, because it looks fascinating, and I'm not sure. We didn't ask the question of when it's gonna come out because Greg doesn't know.
No, because that's up in the air. So.
And it may not even air because Netflix may not take it, and then he may have to shop somewhere else with it, and all that stuff that happens when Netflix cancels a show. Y'all know what happens because y'all bitch about it. So a lot, right? The Secret of a Mana Bear. Y'all gonna say it's the legend of
that? There is a Secret of Mana beer that I've had on this show, and I mistakenly said it was Zelda. So.
Yep. And then our last, thank you for doing this, Doug, because I forgot. Our last past guest news is our friend Mallory O'Mara making more noise out there, disrupting things again, showing what girls do. Girls make movies, y'all. Have you delved into this? Do you know anything about it, Doug?
No, not much. I just know that she put it out. And there's another book she just submitted where she had her, I'm not sure if it was a final draft or she submitted her first draft to her publishers that's supposed to come out next year. She didn't announce what it was yet. So that woman, my word, the amount of research she does for her shit. Just remember when we had her on the show, she's like, I read 700 books. And I'm like,
right.
That's astounding. So, this book is crazy researched, going to have a bunch of knowledge in it. So, yeah. Girly Drinks was really a great book.
Yes, it was.
So, yeah.
And then I bet you this probably, again, we're just guessing here, y'all. Pick up the book if y'all are interested. This would be a great book for any young aspiring girls, period. And it might inspire some boys too, y'all. But I bet you probably follow maybe the same format as Girly Drinks, where she goes back in history, maybe, and points out some under-recognized females in the industry. Or I'm not sure, but like that's definitely one of her MOs is bringing spotlight to women and the things that women have done that have gotten, for lack of a better term, whitewashed in our history, and women not giving credit and a man swooping in and taking credit for what women do, which is something that we pretty much have a pattern of doing in this society. So, and actually on the planet for that matter, especially with women we've minimized them into a silly way. So, in silly ways, I'm sorry. And what's not silly is what Doug wants to talk about now.
Yeah. So this is for you, Zach. This is a 903 beer that I picked up. Another 903 beer. This is a coconut macaroon stout. 10.8% ABV, so it's a big boy. But look at them. That's what they have as a label. So.
Yeah, Daniel's gonna look up Mallory. Mallory Romero is fascinating. Her podcast is great too, y'all.
Yeah.
It's a really good mix of and you know what I mean, Doug. Like if you mix it in with your other podcasts, it's really interesting and you know.
She has a newer podcast out too that is not just the book one. She also does one about ink, specifically like pen ink and pens, because she writes when she writes her books, she writes everything handwritten before she puts it in as a draft in her computer. So, but she's a big on fountain pens, and there's like a niche community on that stuff where it's like this is the cool ink to use with this pen, and like it's just she does a whole podcast about that, and like she's just like it's one of these really super interesting, embracing group of people that are just all about penning.
Yeah, she's. I don't want to say weird in that way, but she's weird in that way.
Yeah, but that's a great kind of weird, right?
Right. No one ever said weird's bad. I don't know where y'all get weird. I guess we
okay.
Yeah, weird is good to me.
Yeah, that is a very, very sweet stout.
Okay.
The coconut isn't super pronounced. So toasted coconut, rich chocolate. The chocolate I get. They called it a patisserie stout.
Okay.
As opposed to it's basically a French version of pastry stout. It's just patisserie.
Oh.
Look at Zach. Of course he has a fountain pen. Do you have slippers that match the fountain pen?
Don't encourage him. Come on. Right. Don't do it, Doug. You already know.
Oh, why not? We're already there.
Right. Don't y'all feed the troll, and then y'all wonder why the troll. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the troll does, but y'all feed him though.
Yeah.
We're also gonna feed this part. Doug, there's no need to be rude.
Why you got to be so rude?
I'm not gonna be rude.
Don't you know I'm human too?
What I might be rude is about this. Yeah. Shout out to Chris Drosner in our in one of our threads. He said that, well, maybe I shouldn't say this publicly because I'm going to.
If he said it publicly.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Chris Drosner was he's like, it's all right. So I'm with him. It's all right. It's nice because it's New Glarus and they made an IPA. It made everybody excited for it. But there's better New Glarus beers in the tank, hopefully, and going on. So it's not. I mean, it's not bad. It's really like old school West Coast style though. Piney. It's not juicy or any of that stuff that I like in IPAs. I mean, I like piney IPAs, but yeah. I'm talking too much about this. I'm not going to say much about this one though. This is Dragon's Milk. The barrel aged stout was bottled a couple months ago, so it's still really perky as far as everything goes. You already know about this one. For those who've never had it, it's fantastic. It's balanced. It's blended really nice. Really even bourbon. You can taste it's a stout. It's not a bourbon bomb. It's not sweet at all, really. It's 11%. It'll knock you on your ass. And I'm going to be sipping this through our post-game action. And when I start alone here in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Might be 10, depending on how I can kick Doug out of the post.
Yeah. All right.
And if Zach doesn't crash, which that happens sometimes.
Yep.
Slippers Al Fontaine. What's up, Doug?
All right. So my least favorite was actually the macaroon one.
Yeah, it sounded too sweet, man.
Yeah. Here's the thing. They make fucking super high ABV beers. And the only one that I have liked, I think I've had 3 of their beers, and the only one I like was the Ruth Bader Ginsburg one. That one was really good. So this was.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My second favorite was Thunder Buddies, which was a really good fruited sour, which was more tart and had the sweetness of the berries. So that was really good. And this is a collaboration between Beer Tree and North Brewery.
The North, yeah.
Yeah. And my favorite was the Lapsang Tea Lager. That was,
yeah. I'm getting over that whole packaging. Can you show that again?
Yeah, they don't have crowlers. They still only do the little growlers.
Medicine bottle looking type thing.
Yeah. Lucky Hair, I have not had a bad beer from them. They put a, was it a, all right, I'm going to have to look it up because now my brain, I can't remember if it was black.
You're going to have to look it up.
Well, it's one of those things where I did a post in the group and Joel had the other beer and it was I can't remember if it was blueberry or blackberry, Belgian triple.
Yep. I love this though. IPAs are dumb and stupid.
It was a Belgian golden with blackberry and oolong tea. And it was super duper good. It was really good.
Okay.
That's a nice fill-in for the farmhouse brew that used to be at that place that you and I went to where we had the awesome wheat wine that one time. They make really good beer. They have a coffee blonde there that is probably one of the best coffee beers I've ever had. And we didn't even have that because the other two were there. So yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna wrap this up here, y'all. We had a great guest. Doug and I had a crazy week. Doug went to a concert.
I saw Tears for Fears, which, by the way, if you can see them, do that because they were amazing live.
Were you head over heels?
I was.
Okay.
I would like to say something about that concert before we scroll off because this is a. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
You go because you're going to be funny and I'm going to be serious.
No, I was just going to say if you're sowing the seeds of love, it's fine.
Which is probably my favorite song of theirs.
Look, I'm going to shout and then I'm going to let it all out.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you should do that. That's healthy.
These are the things I can do without.
Yes.
I'm talking to you. Come on.
All right. So I am at this concert, and this is a band I've wanted to see forever. And Sowing the Seeds of Love came on, actually. And they were playing it, and there is a moment like, I don't know what this moment is described as. There's a thing called peak moments. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of I think it's a psychiatry term where basically you have this moment where you realize in the moment that is the exact place you should be. And everything just feels perfect in that moment. They're fleeting. They don't happen very often. I think psychiatrists say you maybe have 4 or 5 of those your entire life. But there's a different kind of moment I had there where I am listening to it. And it's my favorite song of theirs for a band I've always wanted to see that I never did. And I got so teary-eyed because I was appreciative of the fact that I was actually there to listen to them. It was a moment where I realized that it was possible a year and a half ago that wasn't going to happen. Dead men don't go to concerts. I think I said that to you in the chat. So I got to see something and it made me teary-eyed. And one of the cooler things about that is in the midst of that, I'm fighting the tears coming out because, fucking patriarchy and toxic masculinity makes you not want to cry in public. And then I get a hand squeeze and Jill looks at me and she's smiling because she knows exactly what the fuck I'm thinking. And that is pretty cool. So yeah, sorry to be on the serious notes, but that was something that I think we should embrace. If you are going to feel emotional about something like that, you should be able to be emotional about that and not be ashamed of it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excellent. And you had Tears for Your Fears.
I did.
Yes, and what we will not be teary-eyed about is our next week's stream, y'all. So first of all, I may or may not be here. It's an important birthday in my house, so Doug already knows. Doug is going to be on vacation.
Yeah, but I'll be on the stream.
But we will have. Actually, should we just tease it? We're going to have two. We're going to have 2 former guests and one as a co-host. So here you go. But next week's going to be interesting, y'all. We're going to just tease it. 2 former guests. Y'all know these people. Y'all seen them. Y'all like them. Y'all probably like them better than us.
Yep.
And yeah, a teaser. And we might have a teaser. We might have JHG might be making an appearance too next week, y'all.
Yeah, we might have some
And
news.
that's not what we're JHG's a side of what we're talking about as far as our guests. So we might have JHG, we might have me, we'll have Doug in Maine, we'll have our co-host return, and we'll have a guest that has been here more than a few times. You know who they are. So I'll use that to leave it a little bit vague. And with that, y'all, unless Doug has something to say, we're going to get out of here because I got some alone to binge. I got 4 shows to binge. And Doug, I don't even know. Maybe I'll look at it and be like, no, I got to wait till at least there's 10 so I can just go through them all. I love Alone, man. I can't stop that shit.
That's just can't. Awesome. Like that's
it really is.
That's even a show that I like.
I can't.
Yeah, Joe and I are both like huge fans of that show, and Joe and I don't have a lot of shows that we watch together because my tastes are different than hers. So,
right. Alone is one of those dumb shows that I can just fall into, Doug, and like not, and I mean dumb in a good way, like dumb, like it doesn't take like thought. Some of these shows you have to really like hone in on what they're saying, the plot. You know what I mean? It really grabs you. Alone is just so good. Just like this is a dumbass show. Another one is Last Man Standing, Naked and Afraid. I mean, when my head is going crazy, I can at least watch that dumb shit. And I actually grab it and then I'm good. I'm out like in the wilderness with these people. Y'all a little musty though, so y'all got to stay over there. I mean, you're in the jungle, no showers. You're washing your body in the Amazon or something. It has to be musty down there.
I'm sure they smell awesome when when the people come to do a health check and they're like, "Ooh, baby." Yeah.
Right. Funny how time flies, Doug. I mean, we're gonna get all of the Tears for Fears puns out.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. Y'all stay hydrated. And it is Minority Mental Health Month, Doug.
Oh, I didn't know that. Good.
Yes. But mental health needs to be discussion for the majority. So y'all all look after your mental health. Check in with your kids, check in with your significant other. You don't have to be pushy or pointed about it. You can just check in and you don't have to say, "Hey, how's your mental health?" No. Be a little bit more nuanced. Yes, and I don't know. Bring grace to the conversation too, because everybody needs grace. Yeah. And now, thanks for Doug for breaking it down again. Is that a Tears for Fears?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That's a niche one. So Zach gets.
A niche. All right, that's not a radio song, right? That's not a radio. Tears for Fears had a bunch of radio songs. Apparently, that wasn't one.
But I'm going to tell you, they start their show off with a song I've never heard, and then they do a cluster of them in the middle that I'd never heard. And one of them, I was just like, "Holy shit! I need to go find that like right now." Like,
are they still cranking out new music, or are they just running on old stuff?
No, they just put a whole new album out. Like they've been making albums, and what's funny is like they're on the stage, and the one guy's like, "Oh my," the guys, and their names are escaping me, but they've been making music together since they were 14, and that's awesome that they're still together doing that. And
and they're like 90 now or something. So
they're in their
not 60s. 90, but you know what I'm saying, because they were kind of young when we were coming up. But I guess they were only really that not that much older than us. It wasn't like they were the Rolling Stones or anything, who were like 90 when we were coming up, and now somehow they're still 90 or something. I don't know. Those motherfuckers don't age. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
I also would like to point out at the venue I was at, they were advertising that Rod Stewart was coming with Cheap
There's
Trick.
Another one.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, guys, I get it, but like.
But have you seen Rod Stewart? It looks damn good. Of course, it helps and not all these old guys look damn good. You know what I mean? Like some of them look like Keith Richards, and we still don't know why respect. I'm not trying to wish he's dead, but Keith Richards was living on the wild side for 7 decades or something now. So Yeah. He looks good, Chris, from what I saw. I was like, man. Because, well, you know why? Because some guys have all the luck. Some guys have all the pain. Some guys make no mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Some guys do nothing but complain like you, Doug.
Yeah. There's also the idea that Rod Stewart sang a song about a virgin child and hooking up with her. So
you gotta always be a Debbie Downer, don't you, Doug?
Yeah, well, fuck that stuff.
Yeah, fuck that though. Without now you're trying to get me all serious and I'm trying to like make puns, but all right. You're
I gotta
right.
bring it down a little bit, right?
Oh man. Well, he's not gonna bring it down enough, y'all, for next week. So Doug will be here for sure. I might be, but otherwise we'll see y'all next week with maybe JHG, definitely a co-host, and me, or maybe not me, and someone that y'all know before. So or y'all seen before. So thank y'all. Have a great summer weekend. Stay chilled and refreshed wherever you are and hydrated. You too, Doug.
I'll try.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
I love you guys.